Welcome to Stories for Sleep, a place where scientific stories are told slowly and softly so you can relax, let go, and gently drift into natural sleep. This channel was not created to make you think more, but to help your mind rest. Each video is a calm journey through scientific truths about the world around us, not dry, not tense, and not something you need to remember. You only need to listen, letting the words pass through you like the steady rhythm of breathing in the night. In today's video, we will explore some of the most soothing truths about life on Earth. From quietly existing organisms to the invisible networks that support life, to stretches of time longer than a human lifetime, everything is told in a slow, gentle voice, suitable for listening before sleep. You don't need to follow every detail. If you fall asleep halfway through, that is completely okay. In fact, that is exactly what this video hopes for. Now find a position that feels truly comfortable. And when you are ready, let us begin. Beneath the quiet night sky, when the last light of the day has withdrawn, and the outer world slowly sinks into silence, many of us remain awake. Not because of noise, but because the mind has not yet rested. Thoughts follow one another, nameless worries arise, quiet questions about life appear about where we belong in this vast world. All of this can make sleep feel fragile, difficult to grasp. Modern humans live very close to the rhythm of clocks, notifications, and expectations. We are used to controlling, analyzing, reacting, but we often forget how to listen. To listen to the body, to listen to the mind, to listen to the deeper rhythm of life which existed long before humans appeared and will continue long after we are gone. Carl Gustav Jung believed that beneath each person's personal consciousness lies a much wider layer of the unconscious, a place where humans remain connected to nature, to primordial images, to the ancient rhythms of the earth. When we struggle to sleep, it is often not because we lack tiredness, but because we have lost contact with this deeper layer. The mind becomes trapped in an artificial world, while the soul longs to return to something slower, deeper, and more real. And this is where the rainforest appears not as a distant place on a map, but as a living symbol of the human mind itself. The rainforest is one of the oldest and most complex ecosystems on Earth. But beyond science, it carries a deeper meaning. It is an image of the collective unconscious where everything is interwoven, where there is no absolute center, where life continues to flow whether the surface appears chaotic or still. Jung believed that when humans become lost in their inner lives, they need to return to natural symbols, because there, the mind can rediscover its lost balance. This video was not created to teach you more knowledge. It does not ask you to concentrate, remember, or think deeply. This video is a gentle invitation, an invitation to step away from the hurried rhythm of human life and walk very slowly into the deep rhythm of the rainforest, a place where every leaf, every drop of water, every breath of the soil has its own timing, a place where life is not rushed, not judgmental, and does not need to prove anything. In the journey ahead, you will hear the most soothing scientific truths about the rainforest, told in a slow, calming voice, suitable for listening in the dark. You will hear about the rainforest as a living body that breathes and creates rain, about life existing at every scale, from microscopic to vast, about the remarkable ability of organisms to adapt, about silent networks of connection, about memories, hundreds of millions of years old, stored in trees and soil, about the ancient relationship between humans and forests, and about the rainforest's essential role in the stability of the entire planet. But above all, this video offers a sense of safety, a feeling that you are not a solitary individual struggling against the world. That, like the rainforest, your mind is also an ecosystem, sometimes tangled, sometimes quiet, but always held together by a deeper order that quietly prevents collapse. Jung wrote that humans find true peace only when they feel themselves to be part of something larger than the small ego. And perhaps nowhere expresses this more clearly than the rainforest, where no living being exists alone, and where all life depends on one another to continue. So you don't need to understand the rainforest in this video. You only need to be with it. Let the narration guide you like a small path beneath a dense canopy. Let scientific facts become gentle waves passing through your mind without needing to stay. If you fall asleep along the way, that is perfectly fine. In fact, that is exactly what this video hopes for. Now, as you are here in this quiet space, allow yourself to relax. No effort, no control, just listening. And when you are ready, we will begin to step into the rainforest, where life whispers, where the mind softens, and where sleep may come to you naturally. When people think of the rainforest, they often imagine a distant place, dense canopies, heavy humidity, endless insect sounds, and sunlight filtering down in thin strands. But this perspective is still very human. It treats the rainforest as scenery, an external space to observe. If we look more deeply, more slowly, the rainforest appears not as a place, but as a living being. Not in a poetic metaphor, but in a very real sense. The rainforest breathes, regulates, self-adjusts, self-heals, and influences the entire planet in the same way a living body affects each of its own cells. Carl Gustav Jung said that one of modern humanity's greatest mistakes is fragmenting the world into separate pieces in order to control it, thereby losing the sense of a living whole. The rainforest, if listened to long enough, teaches the opposite lesson: no part truly exists in isolation. 1. The rainforest breathes the planet's respiration. A living body must first be able to breathe, and so must the rainforest. Each leaf in the rainforest continuously releases water vapor into the air. Billions of leaves, day after day, create invisible breaths rising from the canopy. That vapor does not disappear. It condenses into clouds and falls back as rain, nourishing the very forest that produced it. The rainforest creates rain for itself, without human intervention, without a central controller, only through the rhythmic repetition of a living cycle. Jung compared the unconscious to the respiratory system of the soul. We do not need to think in order to breathe, and we do not need to understand for the unconscious to function. The rainforest works the same way. It does not know it is regulating climate. It simply does what its living structure allows. Life does not need consciousness to operate intelligently. A leaf is never just a leaf. In the rainforest, no part exists alone. A leaf is not merely green decoration on a branch. It is the site of countless processes: photosynthesis, gas exchange, water regulation, insect attraction, microbial nourishment. On its surface may live entire communities: fungi, bacteria, insect, eggs, each playing a distinct role. When the leaf falls, it does not die. It becomes food for the soil. The soil nourishes the roots. The roots support the trunk. The trunk holds the leaves. In the rainforest, there is no endpoint, only transformation. Jung described this as the logic of the unconscious. Nothing is wasted, no experience is entirely meaningless. Everything is reused, transformed, integrated at a deeper level. Roots, the forest's hidden nervous system. If the canopy is the surface of consciousness, then roots and forest soil are the deep unconscious. Beneath the dark, moist ground, roots intertwine like blood vessels. They connect with fungi, microorganisms, and minerals. Through this network, trees not only absorb nutrients, but also exchange information, warning of pests, sharing resources, adjusting growth. A weak tree is not necessarily abandoned. A young tree does not always have to survive alone. In many rainforests, large trees feed smaller ones through these underground networks. Jung believed the human mind has a similar hidden network, where old experiences, collective memories, and ancient symbols silently support present consciousness. We do not see it, but we live because of it. Microorganisms, the anonymous cells that hold the whole together. No one sees microorganisms when entering a rainforest. Yet without them, the forest would die. Bacteria decompose fallen leaves. Fungi help trees absorb nutrients. Microscopic organisms regulate soil and water chemistry. They have no impressive appearance, no heroic role. Yet they prevent the entire system from collapsing. This touches a deep point in Jungian psychology. The ego often believes it is the center of mental life, while in reality it is only a small part. Most of the work that keeps a person stable occurs in unconscious layers we rarely notice. What is most silent is often most essential. The rainforest regulates temperature like a living body. A living body must maintain suitable temperature. So does the rainforest. Through evaporation, ground cover, and carbon cycles, rainforests cool the air, stabilize regional temperatures, and influence global climate. Areas with rainforests experience less extreme temperature fluctuation than deforested regions. When forests disappear, the earth develops a fever. Temperatures rise, climate loses balance. Not because of a simple lack of trees, but because a regulating organ has been damaged. Jung said that when humans repress parts of their psyche, the entire system reacts, often through anxiety, disorder, or crisis. The earth responds similarly when rainforests are harmed. Clouds, winds, and oceans, the rainforest does not end at its borders. The rainforest does not stop at geographical boundaries. Water vapor becomes clouds. Clouds move with the wind. Rain falls thousands of kilometers away. Ocean currents are influenced by rainfall and temperature. The rainforest touches places it has never physically reached. This mirrors how a psychological experience can influence an entire life, even if it occurred long ago and deep within. Jung called this the diffusion of unconscious content, not limited to a single moment or location. The rainforest is not optimized, it is balanced. From a human perspective, rainforests may seem chaotic. Tangled vines, crowded trees, predation, parasitism, competition for light. But this is not chaos. It is dynamic balance. No species dominates absolutely. No part controls the whole. Each element exists just enough for the system to continue. Jung believed psychological health does not come from eliminating conflict, but from allowing opposing forces to coexist without destroying each other. The rainforest is a living example of this principle. When humans listen to the rainforest, the mind softens. There is a deep reason why listening to stories about rainforests, especially at night, calms the mind. At a very ancient level, the human psyche recognizes this rhythm, unhurried, unstrained, uncontrolled. The rhythm of a living system that has existed long enough to no longer need proof. The rainforest does not try to exist. It simply exists. And as you lie here listening to this story, perhaps a deep part of you remembers the same truth, that you do not need to strain in this moment. You can breathe. You can let go. The rainforest is not merely a collection of trees. It is a complete living body. A body with no absolute center, no unnecessary parts, no meaningless movement. And as this image spreads through your mind, you may sense something very gentle. You too are part of a larger body, and in this moment you are allowed to rest. 2. Life exists at every scale, from the microscopic to the vast. In the previous section, we quietly viewed the rainforest as a complete living body, one that knows how to breathe, regulate itself, heal itself, and preserve its own existence across spans of time far longer than any human civilization. But when standing before a living body, humans often fall into a familiar reflex. We look at the whole and forget the smallest details. We assume that only large structures matter, that only grand movements carry meaning. The rainforest tells a very different story. In the rainforest, nothing is small. No detail is unnecessary. No form of life is insignificant. And just like the human mind, where a fleeting thought, a vague feeling, or a very old memory can influence an entire life, the rainforest reveals that life exists and operates at every scale simultaneously. Humans often search for meaning in big things, major events, milestones, clearly named experiences. But nature does not function this way. The rainforest does not center itself around events. It centers itself around continuous presence at every size where existence is possible. Carl Gustav Jung wrote in The Symbolic Life, Small and insignificant things often turn out to be the most essential. A drop of water. The universe does not need to be large. In the rainforest, a drop of water resting on a leaf is never just water. Within that single drop may exist bacteria, fungal spores, insect eggs, single-celled organisms, dissolved minerals. It reflects light, regulates the leaf's surface temperature, helps the plant cool itself, and when it falls to the insect ground, it carries life down into deeper layers of the forest. A drop of water is at once a habitat, a vehicle, and a message. Jung believed the human mind contains similar drops of water, a vague image in a dream, a fleeting sensation triggered by a sound, an incomplete memory. Consciousness often dismisses them as too small, but the unconscious does not. No experience is too small to be meaningless. A leaf where many worlds overlap. A single leaf in the rainforest is a multi-layered world. On the surface of the leaf, microorganisms live. Insects feed, lay eggs, and take shelter. Fungi grow. Inside the leaf, photosynthesis occurs. Water and minerals circulate. Energy is produced for the entire tree. At the same time, the leaf nourishes the trunk, regulates the air, contributes to life. Rainfall. A leaf is where the microscopic and the vast meet. Jung often said that the human psyche is structured in the same way a personal thought can carry collective energy. A private emotion can reach the deepest layers of humanity. In Memories, Dreams, Reflections, he wrote, "The smallest things have a meaning, and this meaning can be decisive. A handful of soil, the living memory of the rainforest soil, is not dead matter. Within a single handful of soil, a decomposing bacteria, symbiotic fungi, nematodes, tiny insects, organic matter from hundreds of years ago. Soil is where the forest's memory is stored. Fallen leaves from the past, dead organisms, rainwater from many seasons. Everything is transformed, nothing disappears." Jung compared the unconscious to soil it stores. All experiences, even those consciousness has forgotten. Nothing is truly erased, it is buried waiting to be transformed. No past is useless. It is becoming the ground of the present. Microorganisms' life does not need to be seen. The rainforest would die quickly without microorganisms. They decompose dead matter, maintain chemical balance, help plants absorb nutrients, regulate disease. No one hears them, no one sees them, yet all other life depends on them. Jung referred to such elements in psychology as background unconscious contents. They never appear directly, but without them the entire personality collapses. What you are least aware of is often what holds you upright. Insects, the never-ending movements. Insects make up the majority of animal biomass in the rainforest. They pollinate, decompose, hunt, become food, regulate populations. A single small ant can alter the structure of an entire patch of soil. A swarm of insects can affect the survival of ancient trees. There are no secondary creatures, only beings doing their part. Jung believed that in the psyche, small behaviors, habits, reflexes, fleeting emotions often hold more power than grand rational decisions. A single tree trunk, never truly alone. A lone tree trunk in the rainforest may appear independent, but in reality, it connects to other trees through roots and fungi, depends on insects, birds, and microorganisms, shapes the surrounding microclimate. There is no true isolation in the rainforest, only nodes within a network. Jung described the ego as a node within the total psyche. When the ego believes itself, completely independent humans begin to feel lonely and anxious. The microscopic and the vast are not separate. They reflect each other. In the rainforest, changes in microorganisms affect trees. Changes in trees affect climate. Climate affects the planet. A small change can spread very far. Jung believed the same is true within inner life. He wrote, Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. No reaction is random. No detail is trivial. When humans hear this, the ego softens. Humans often feel exhausted because they believe they must do great things to have value. The rainforest whispers something very different. Simply existing in the right place is enough. A drop of water does not try to become a river. A leaf does not try to become the entire forest. And because of this, the forest survives. Jung believed psychological healing begins when people stop forcing themselves to become something else and accept their true role within the whole. Life does not rank big and small. In the rainforest, there is no hierarchy based on size. Microorganisms matter as much as ancient trees. Insects matter as much as large animals. Value lies in fit, not in scale. This touches a deep wound in modern humans, the feeling of being too small. But in the logic of life, small does not mean meaningless. When you hear this before sleep, the mind is allowed to rest. There is a deep reason why stories about the microscopic help people fall asleep. They release us from the pressure to be big, to be important, to be special. You do not need to be the whole forest. You only need to be the leaf breathing tonight. The rainforest teaches us that life exists at every scale. There are no small details. There are no unnecessary beings. And as you lie here, listening to these words, perhaps a very deep part of you is beginning to realize you do not need to be large to matter. You only need to be 3. The extraordinary capacity of living beings to adapt. In the previous section, we quietly stepped into a very gentle realization. Life exists at every scale. Nothing is small. No detail is meaningless. A drop of water, a leaf, a handful of soil. Each carries within it a living world. But when we look even more deeply, a very natural question arises in the mind, not in words but as a feeling. If life is so fragile, if it must exist across countless different conditions, what allows it not only to survive but to grow too, spread, and to continue across millions of years? The rainforest does not answer loudly. It does not answer through brute force. It answers through something quieter, softer, yet far deeper, the capacity to adapt. And when Carl Gustav Jung observed the human psyche, he recognized the same truth. A healthy psyche is not one that is rigid, but one that can transform without losing its core. Humans often understand adaptation as a passive reaction, enduring, yielding, bending in order to survive. But in the rainforest, adaptation carries no sense of weakness. On the contrary, it is a very high form of intelligence. Life in the rainforest does not confront the environment head-on. It listens, adjusts, creates, and transforms itself. Jung wrote in Modern Man in Search of a Soul, "What we do not adapt to becomes our fate." The rainforest seems to have understood this long ago. Trees are not silent, they simply speak another language. In ordinary human thinking, trees are passive, silent beings, standing still and waiting. But the rainforest tells a completely different story. Trees communicate, not through words, not through familiar sounds, but through chemical signals released into the air, messages transmitted through roots and fungi, mechanical vibrations, even ultrasonic waves beyond human hearing. When attacked by insects, a tree can release chemical signals that cause surrounding trees to increase their defensive responses. A tree does not fight alone, it warns the community. Life does not need consciousness in order to cooperate. Cooperation is one of its deepest instincts. Jung believed that a similar layer of communication exists within the human psyche, where emotions, intuitions, and symbols transmit information faster than language. He wrote in The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, the psyche consists essentially of images. The mind operates through images, signals, and vibrations, just as the rainforest operates through invisible messages. Vibration. Life feels the world with its whole body. Not all beings see or hear the way humans do. In the rainforest, many species perceive the world through vibration. Trees sense vibrations from wind, rain, and intrusion. Insects detect minute movements in the air. Roots respond to pressure in the soil. Adaptation is not about changing thoughts, but about changing the way one feels. Jung believed many psychological crises arise when humans try to think their way through problems that need to be felt. The rainforest does not think about its environment. It listens with its entire living structure. Bioluminescent creatures, light without the sun. In the dense darkness of the rainforest, where sunlight barely reaches the ground, many organisms have developed the ability to create their own light. This light is not meant to illuminate the world. It is used to communicate, attract prey, camouflage, warn. When the environment offers no light, life creates its own. Jung viewed inner light, insight, awareness, dreams, as something that does not come from outside, but arises from the unconscious, when consciousness is insufficient. He wrote in Memories, Dreams, Reflections, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Rainforest creatures do not eliminate darkness. They live with it, and from it their own light emerges. Changing color identity is not fixed. Many rainforest animals can change color not only for camouflage, but also for communication, temperature regulation, or expressing physiological states. They are not loyal to a single form. They are not bound to a fixed identity. Life does not ask, "Who am I?" It asks, "What do I need to become right now?" Jung believed that when humans identify too rigidly with a single self-image, the psyche becomes brittle and vulnerable. He wrote in Psychological Types, "The more a man's character is split, the more he is in danger of neurosis." But splitting here does not mean diversity, it means disconnection. Life in the rainforest is diverse, yet integrated, flexible, yet unified. Ultrasound hearing. Listening to what is not meant for us. Many rainforest animals hear sound ranges that humans cannot. Their world is wider, not because it contains more objects, but because it contains more layers of information. Adaptation is not about expanding the world, but about expanding the capacity to perceive the world. Jung believed modern humans have narrowed their perceptual range by trusting only what rational thought allows. Yet the unconscious continues to hear other frequencies in dreams, in intuition, in subtle emotions. Seeing in darkness, when light is scarce, other senses awaken. In low-light conditions, many rainforest creatures do not try to create more light. They develop other senses, sharper vision, more refined smell, more precise touch. Life does not demand ideal conditions. It turns existing conditions into advantages. Jung viewed psychological darkness not as an enemy, but as a place where other capacities can emerge. He called this hidden part the shadow, and wrote, "The shadow is a moral problem that challenges the whole ego personality. The shadow does not destroy the personality, denying it does. Adaptation is not the sacrifice of essence. Most importantly, life in the rainforest changes its form without losing its core structure. A tree remains a tree. An animal remains an animal. They do not betray themselves. They simply find ways to remain." Jung called this process individuation, becoming oneself through transformation, not through rigidity. Life is strong, not through brutality, but through creativity. The rainforest contains predators, competition, and death. But if we see only that, we miss something more essential. Life persists not because it is cruel, but because it is creative. Creative in communication, creative in perception, creative in existing within limits. Jung believed creativity is the psyche's natural response to adversity, not to conquer but to continue. When we hear this, we are allowed to soften. Many people grow tired believing they must be stronger, harder, more resilient. But the rainforest whispers, you do not need to be rigid. You need to be flexible. Before sleep, life reminds us of this. As you lie here listening to these stories of adaptation, perhaps a very deep part of you is realizing you do not need to fight everything. You can change how you are present. The extraordinary adaptability of rainforest life does not arise from brute strength, but from the intelligence of listening and transforming. And as this understanding spreads gently through your mind, perhaps you are allowing yourself to soften, to breathe, and to rest. 4. The rainforest is a network of connection, not a place of isolated competition. In the previous section, we listened to how life in the rainforest adapts in a soft yet intelligent way, not through overwhelming force, but through creativity, listening, and changing form in order to continue existing. But when we observe more closely, we begin to realize something essential. No living being adapts alone. No tree survives by itself. No species develops in isolation. No life stands outside its relationship with other life. Adaptation only truly has meaning when it takes place within a network. And the rainforest, if we look deeply enough, is not a battlefield of survival, but a living nervous system where every part is constantly exchanging, supporting, and regulating one another. Carl Gustav Jung wrote in The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, "No psychic value can exist in isolation." Life in the rainforest follows the same truth. Humans are often taught that nature operates primarily through competition. The strong survive, the weak are eliminated. This view is simple, easy to grasp, and fits the separating logic of rational thought. But the rainforest, with a complexity that cannot be reduced, tells another story, deeper and gentler. Competition exists, but it is not the center. Connection is the foundation. Trees share nutrients, life does not hoard for itself. Beneath the rainforest floor lies a vast mycorrhizal network, where tree roots and fungi connect into a system of exchange. Through this network, large trees share carbon with smaller ones. Healthy trees support weaker ones. Shaded trees still receive energy. Older trees nourish the next generation, not because of morality, not because of kindness, but because the system remains stable only when all its parts remain alive. In the rainforest, individual survival matters less than the stability of the whole. Jung recognized this same principle within the human psyche. He believed that when a part of the psyche is starved, rejected emotions, suppressed instincts, the entire personality becomes unbalanced. In The Symbolic Life, he wrote, "The psyche is a self-regulating system, and so is the rainforest. Trees warn of danger, the intelligence of transmission. When a tree is attacked by insects, it does not suffer in silence. It releases chemical signals into the air and soil, allowing surrounding trees to activate their defenses. The danger of one individual becomes information for the community. This stands in sharp contrast to how humans often face pain hiding it, enduring it alone, seeing vulnerability as failure. Jung believed that personal suffering often carries collective meaning. In Psychology and Religion, he wrote, "The individual is not only a part of society, but society itself lives in the individual. The community lives within each individual, and the individual lives because of the community." Symbiosis. When two species become a new form of life, the rainforest is filled with symbiotic relationships, trees and fungi, flowers and insects, animals and microorganisms, even parasites and hosts. Many of these relationships cannot be separated. If one disappears, the other cannot survive. Not two, but one new system. Jung saw such unions as images of the self, the totality of the psyche where opposing parts do not exclude one another but coexist within a larger structure. Microorganisms, the invisible foundation of the entire forest. Most life in the rainforest exists when no one sees it. Microorganisms decompose dead matter, maintain chemical balance, prevent disease outbreaks, sustain soil fertility. Without them, the rainforest collapses silently. Life does not stand on the surface. It stands on deep, unnamed layers. Jung called these layers within the psyche the unconscious, where life energy resides upon which consciousness depends, often without realizing it. Predation and death, not destruction, but regulation. The rainforest is not a paradise without death. There is predation, there is suffocation, there is parasitism. But within this system, death is not a meaningless end. It is a regulating mechanism. Populations do not explode. Energy is transferred. Cycles continue. Death in the rainforest does not destroy the system. It allows the system to remain alive. Jung did not see darkness as something to be eliminated. In Aeon, he wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Light cannot be reached by denying darkness. Competition is only one rhythm in a larger music. There is competition in the rainforest, but competition does not fill the entire space. It exists alongside cooperation, symbiosis, regulation, sharing. Competition is not removed, but it is placed in its proper position." Jung believed psychological conflict is not a sign of illness, but a sign that life is seeking balance. The rainforest, as a neural network, seen from above the rainforest, does not resemble an army. It resembles a living brain. Roots like neural fibers, chemical signals like electrical impulses, fast and slow responses. No absolute center. The intelligence of the rainforest lies in the network, not in the individual. Jung called this structure within the psyche the collective unconscious, an intelligence that belongs to no one, yet operates through everyone, humans, and the illusion of being alone. Modern humans suffer not because they lack connection, but because of the illusion that they must exist alone. The rainforest whispers a very different truth. No living being is born to be alone. Jung believed many psychological disorders arise from separating the ego from the whole. When we hear this, loneliness softens. There is a deep reason why stories of connection help people fall asleep. They touch the most ancient layer of the mind, the part that knows I am being held. Like a tree in the forest, it does not need to understand the entire system in order to be nourished. Before sleep, the rainforest reminds us, you do not need to be strong alone. You are lying within a larger network, and tonight, that network is still holding you. The rainforest does not exist through isolated competition. It exists through connection. No being is unnecessary. No role is meaningless. No pain exists without being integrated into the whole. And as you allow this understanding to spread gently through your mind, perhaps you are sensing something very soft and deep. I do not need to fight the world. I am being held by it. 5. The rainforest preserves the deep memory of the earth. In the previous section, we sensed the rainforest as a living network, a place where no individual exists alone, where life is sustained through connection, symbiosis, and mutual regulation. Each being is a node within that network, and life continues not through isolated strength, but through the harmony of the whole. But as we look more deeply into that network, a very quiet question begins to emerge. Not a question of the intellect, but of time. If the rainforest is a living network, how long has this network existed? What has it witnessed? And what memories of the earth does it carry? The answer does not come in words. It lives in DNA, in soil, in tree trunks, in beings that have remained almost unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. The rainforest is not only a place where life exists, it is a place where life remembers. Humans often think of memory as something that belongs to the brain, but life does not think this way. Life stores memory in structure, in genetic sequences, in layers of sediment, in the enduring forms of ancient organisms. The rainforest, whose age stretches across geological eras, is a living library, without books, without letters, yet holding the history of the entire planet. Carl Gustav Jung wrote in The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, the psyche is not of today. Its ancestry goes back many millions of years. The mind does not belong to the present. Its origins extend millions of years into the past, and the rainforest is the biological mirror of this truth. DNA memory that does not need to be remembered. Every organism in the rainforest carries within it a chronicle, not in words, not in images, but in DNA, a sequence of information passed from generation to generation across millions of years, almost without interruption. Within the DNA of a tree living today, there may still be traces of ancient climates, vanished soils, environments that no longer exist. The past does not disappear. It is folded and carried forward. Jung called this in psychology the collective unconscious patterns, fears, symbols, and reflexes that do not arise from personal experience, but from the deep history of humanity. He wrote, "The collective unconscious is a part of the psyche which can be negatively distinguished from a personal unconscious by the fact that it does not owe its existence to personal experience. Like DNA, the collective unconscious is memory that does not need to be recalled yet continues to shape the present. Sediment time-layered, not erased rainforest soil is not merely a place where plants grow. It is a place where time settles. One layer of soil rests upon another. Leaves from this century lie atop leaves from centuries before. Minerals, microorganisms, and biological traces stack into layers. There is no sharp boundary between old and new, only continuity." Jung often compared the unconscious to psychological strata, where past experiences do not vanish, but sink deeper, ready to influence the present when conditions allow. What has passed does not leave. It becomes the ground for what is living now. Living fossils' memory that is still breathing within the rainforest. Exist species known as living fossils. They have changed very little over hundreds of millions of years, retain prehistoric structures, have survived multiple mass extinctions, not because they are slow to evolve, but because their form was already sufficient for life. Not changing is not stagnation. Sometimes it is completion. Jung warned modern humans against an obsession with constant progress. In The Symbolic Life, he wrote that not all change brings meaning. Sometimes stability signals a deep structure that has found its balance. Ancient insects, silent witnesses. Many insects living in rainforests today are direct descendants of creatures that lived alongside dinosaurs. They have witnessed continents drift apart, witnessed climates shift, witnessed species come and go. Yet they are still here, without records, without monuments. Life does not remember through nostalgia. It remembers by continuing to exist. Jung believed humans also carry such ancient insects within the psyche, reflexes, fears, and primordial images that arise in dreams without a clear origin. Trees, hundreds of millions of years old, time that lives slowly. In rainforests, there are lineages of trees that have existed since the earth was very different. They grow slowly. They change little. They do not hurry. Each growth ring is a year of memory. Each fiber of wood is a mark of time. Trees do not remember consciously, but their trunks are journals. Jung wrote in Memories, Dreams, Reflections, "Life has always seemed to me like a plant that lives on its rhizome. Life resembles a plant living through underground roots. The most important part lies beneath the surface. The rainforest, as the Earth's unconscious. If the deep ocean is the emotional unconscious of the planet, then the rainforest is its memory unconscious. It preserves ancient life forms, maintains older biological rhythms, safeguards structures that once proved viable, not to return to the past, but to ensure the future has a foundation. Jung believed humans lose their way when they sever themselves from their deep memory. He wrote, "The greater the tension, the greater is the potential. The tension between past and present, if held, generates life energy. Standing before this memory, humans feel small. When humans realize that the rainforest carries memories hundreds of millions of years old, the modern ego often responds with awe." But Jung did not see this sense of smallness as negative. He saw it as the beginning of spiritual maturity, when the ego accepts that it is not the center of everything. To be small within a vast flow of time does not make you meaningless. It places you correctly. Why these reflections help us sleep? There is a deep reason why listening to the ancient memory of the earth makes people sleepy. Because the ego no longer has to prove anything. The pressure of time dissolves. The mind returns to a deeper rhythm. When we stop racing against time, the body allows itself to rest. The earth's memory touches human memory. As you hear about creatures that lived with dinosaurs, about ancient DNA, about trees hundreds of millions of years old, you may not understand it rationally, but the unconscious recognizes it. Because within you too are memories that do not belong only to this lifetime. Jung wrote, "In each of us there is another whom we do not know. Within each of us lives someone older than consciousness itself." Before sleep, the rainforest whispers this: not everything needs to be remembered. Not everything needs to be understood. Some things only need to be carried. Just as the rainforest carries the earth's memory, you are carrying more than you realize. The rainforest is a living library without letters, without pages, yet filled with memory. Memory of time longer than humanity. Memory of life that has learned how to endure. And as you lie here in the night listening to this story, perhaps a very deep part of you is feeling this. I do not need to remember everything. I only need to rest within a flow that has existed for a very long time. 6. Humans are a part of the forest, not separate from it. In the previous section, we touched something very deep: the rainforest, as a living library, where the memory of the earth is preserved not through writing, but through DNA, soil, tree trunks, and ancient forms of life. The rainforest does not recount the past, it carries the past within its living structure. And as we listen to this, another question slowly, softly emerges. If the rainforest carries the memory of the planet, where do humans stand within that memory? Are we observers from the outside, or are we part of the very story being told? The answer of the rainforest and of Jung does not lie in theory. It lies in the way humans once lived, long before we called ourselves a civilization. Humans did not enter the forest as conquerors. Humans entered the forest as learners. In modern thinking, humans are often placed in opposition to nature, culture against wilderness, intellect against instinct, progress against tradition. But the rainforest and the communities that have lived with it for thousands of years shows that this division is very recent and not inevitable. Carl Gustav Jung believed that when humans separate themselves from nature, they do not only harm the environment, they harm the very structure of their own psyche. He wrote in Modern Man in Search of a Soul, "Man feels himself isolated in the cosmos. He is no longer involved in nature and has lost his emotional participation in natural events. Humans feel isolated in the universe because they have lost their emotional participation in natural processes. The rainforest, through indigenous knowledge, tells a completely different story. Traditional medicine, when healing, is a relationship. In the Mada, rainforest medicine does not begin in a laboratory. It begins with long observation and deep listening. Indigenous people do not extract medicinal plants. They establish relationships with them. They know which plants heal wounds, which reduce fever, which induce visions to guide ritual, which are poisonous, and which neutralize poison. This knowledge is not written in books. It is transmitted through stories, rituals, direct experience, dreams. Healing is not an act of dominating nature, but of cooperating with it. Jung was deeply interested in traditional medicine because he believed illness is not only a biological malfunction, but an imbalance of the whole person. In Psychology and Religion, he wrote, "Illness is not merely a physiological phenomenon. It is often the expression of a psychic disturbance." Rainforest medicine does not separate body from mind, nor humans from their environment. Language, where the forest is named in order to exist many, indigenous rainforest languages preserve names for hundreds, even thousands of species, including species modern science has never recorded. These names are not merely for classification. They carry characteristics, uses, dangers, stories, ecological roles. To name is to acknowledge existence. Jung believed language is not merely a tool of communication, but a structure of consciousness. When something loses its name, it gradually disappears from the collective mind. When an indigenous language disappears, it is not just vocabulary that is lost, it is a way of seeing the world. Songlines, when space is remembered through living memory. Some indigenous communities do not use paper maps. They use songs. Each melody corresponds to a river, a line of trees, a bend in the land, a hunting ground, a sacred place. Singing is a way of locating oneself in space. Space is not measured by distance, but by relationship. Jung believed that the deepest human memory does not reside in data, but in symbols and rhythms. Music, ritual, and storytelling are unconscious ways of remembering the world. Sacred trees, when nature has personhood. In many rainforest cultures, certain trees are never cut down, not because of law, but because the spirit of the forest is believed to dwell there. The sacred tree is not merely a religious symbol. It is a psychological boundary, a place where humans learn to stop. Not everything is meant to be used. Jung believed sacred symbols protect the psyche. When humans lose the sense of the sacred, they begin to violate all boundaries, both external and internal. In The Undiscovered Self, he wrote, "The loss of meaning in life is the greatest neurosis of our time. Sacredness in the rainforest is not superstition. It is a structure that prevents humans from exceeding themselves. Hunting, healing, dying, knowledge that is lived, not owned. Indigenous people do not apply knowledge. They live within it. Their way of hunting avoids overhunting, respects breeding seasons, knows which species must be left undisturbed. Their way of healing combines plants and ritual, sees illness as imbalance, heals the community, not only the tummus, individual. Their way of dying knows which plants produce which colors, knows how to fix color, knows what each color means. Knowledge is never separated from ethics." Jung believed modern knowledge becomes dangerous when it is severed from psychological depth and moral responsibility. Rainforest knowledge is the opposite. It is always accompanied by limits and accountability. Humans as the forest's longtime students. In the rainforest's story, humans do not stand above. They stand within. They observe. They experiment. They fail. They learn. Not domination, but companionship. Jung saw the healthy relationship between ego and unconscious. In the same way, the ego does not control the unconscious, but learns to dialogue with it. When humans forget that they belong to the forest, many modern crises, ecological, psychological, social, arise from a shared forgetting. Humans believe they stand outside nature. Jung warned that when humans identify only with consciousness and reason, they become dangerous not only to the world, but to themselves. Why these stories help us sleep? When you hear about indigenous knowledge about humans living with the forest, not dominating but listening, a very deep part of you may recognize something familiar. Because in the unconscious, humans have never truly stopped belonging to nature. The feeling of belonging calms the nervous system. And when the nervous system calms, sleep arrives. Humans do not need to return to the forest to belong to it. Belonging is not geographical, it is psychological. You do not need to live in the rainforest to carry its rhythm within you. You only need to listen. Slow down. Remember that you are not separate teen. Before sleep, the rainforest whispers this. You are not an outsider to life. You are part of it. And tonight you are allowed to rest within that connection. The rainforest does not only preserve the memory of the earth, it preserves the memory of how humans once lived in harmony. Humans are not conquerors, not outsiders. Humans are the forest's longtime students. And as you lie here listening to these words, perhaps a very deep part of you is breathing more lightly. I do not need to control everything. I am allowed to belong. 7. The rainforest plays a crucial role in the stability of the earth. In the previous section, we stepped into a very gentle truth. Humans do not stand outside the rainforest, they belong to it. Indigenous knowledge, traditional medicine, language and ritual all reveal that humans once lived as part of ecosystems, not as their controllers. And when we recognize that we belong to the forest, another wider question begins to unfold. If the rainforest supports human life, what else does it support? Only one region, or the entire Earth? The answer does not need exaggeration. It lies in how the Earth has maintained balance for millions of years. The rainforest is not merely a place of abundant life. It is a living organ of the planet. Humans often see the Earth as a passive stage, a surface upon which events occur. But when viewed through a deeper biological lens, the Earth functions like a self-regulating body. And within that body, the rainforest acts simultaneously as lungs, regulatory glands, and an immune system. Carl Gustav Jung once wrote in The Undiscovered Self, "A man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. A system is truly stable only when it can process excess energy and tension." The rainforest is where the Earth does exactly that, absorbing and storing carbon, the slow breath of the planet. Every day, rainforests absorb vast amounts of carbon dioxide, a gas produced by respiration, decomposition, and the activities of life. This carbon does not disappear. It is stored in tree trunks, roots, forest soil, and the complex biological systems beneath the surface. The rainforest does not erase carbon. It holds carbon in a living state. Just as the human mind cannot delete emotions but can only contain and transform them, Jung believed that emotions which are suppressed become symptoms, while emotions that are held properly become living energy. The rainforest is where the Earth contains excess energy, preventing the system from overload. Regulating global temperature, quiet coolness. Rainforests cool the planet, not through a single dramatic action, but through billions of small ones. Water evaporating from leaves, ground cover that shields the soil, slowing hot winds and maintaining atmospheric humidity. The rainforest does not fight heat, it disperses heat. Jung described this as a principle of psychological balance, not confronting tension directly, but redistributing energy across the whole system. When rainforests disappear, the Earth does not merely grow warmer, it loses its ability to cool itself, influencing rainfall thousands of kilometers away. Connection beyond sight. Water vapor rises from rainforests, forms clouds, travels with the wind, and falls as rain in places far away, sometimes thousands of kilometers distant. The rainforest brings rain to places it has never touched. This reflects a deeply Jungian principle. What occurs in the deeper layers of a system can influence regions that seem distant and unrelated. The human psyche works the same way. A forgotten conflict in the unconscious may surface as anxiety, insomnia, or exhaustion with no obvious cause. Stabilizing soil, holding the ground in place. Rainforest roots hold the soil together, not through brute force but through interweaving. They prevent erosion, retain water, maintain fertility, protect rivers. Soil remains stable, not because it is rigid, but because it is held within a network. Jung viewed the human personality in the same way. It is not stable because of sheer willpower, but because of harmonious connections among the parts of the psyche. Affecting polar ice melt, the interdependence of the whole. It may sound distant, but changes in rainforests affect ocean currents, sea temperatures, global climate patterns, and through these they influence ice at the poles. In a living system, there is no place that is truly far away. Jung called this the logic of the whole. No part can change without affecting the rest. Losing forests is not just losing trees. When rainforests disappear, carbon is no longer stored, heat is no longer regulated, rainfall becomes erratic, soil erodes, balance is lost. This is not an isolated issue, it is a systemic symptom. Jung believed that crises, whether personal or collective, always signal a deeper imbalance. The Earth as a living psyche viewed through Jung's understanding of the human mind. The Earth appears as a self-regulating entity. Rainforests are among its most essential regulatory mechanisms, not because forests are good or bad, but because they keep the rhythm. Why these truths do not need to create fear much. Environmental content awakens fear, but this video and this section was not created to make you anxious. It was created to place you where you belong, a small part of a vast system that is continually self-regulating. When humans understand they are not the center, anxiety often softens. Before sleep, the rainforest tells you this: you do not need to carry the entire Earth, but you are not separate from it either. Like a cell in a body, it does not control the whole, yet it still matters. Stability comes from harmony, not control. The rainforest does not control the Earth, it harmonizes with it. And this is the deepest lesson Jung wished humanity to learn: to live in harmony with the whole, rather than trying to master it. The rainforest keeps the Earth stable not through dramatic power, but through slow, deep, persistent rhythm. And as you lie here listening, perhaps a very deep part of you feels, I do not need to control everything. Larger systems are quietly keeping the rhythm. Tonight, I can rest. And now, as this story gently comes to a close, perhaps you are lying a little more still. The space around you feels slower. The thoughts you had at the beginning are no longer as sharp. Your mind, like a rainforest after long rain, is returning to a soft, moist, quiet depth. We have walked through the rainforest, not with our feet, but with listening. From seeing it as a complete living body to recognizing life at every scale. From the extraordinary adaptability of organisms to the silent networks that keep the whole from collapsing. From the deep memory of the Earth stored in DNA and tree trunks, to indigenous knowledge where humans once lived as humble students of the forest. And finally, to the crucial role rainforests play in keeping this planet stable. If there is one invisible thread running through this entire journey, it is this simple truth: life does not operate through haste. It operates through rhythm. The rainforest does not try to be important. It does not need to prove its value. It simply continues to breathe, and because of that, many other things are allowed to exist. Carl Gustav Jung believed that at the deepest layer of the psyche, humans still remember this rhythm older than schedules, obligations, and worries. When we cannot sleep, it is often not because we lack tiredness, but because we have drifted too far from this rhythm. The rainforest reminds us, not everything needs to be controlled. Not every question needs an answer. Not every movement needs a purpose. There are larger systems than the ego quietly keeping time. There are supporting networks we do not need to see in order to benefit from. There are processes continuing even when we close our eyes. And in this moment, you do not need to do anything. You do not need to become better. You do not need to understand more deeply. You do not need to remember what you have heard. Your mind, like the rainforest, knows how to keep what is essential and let the rest drift away. If you feel small before the story of the rainforest and the Earth, allow that feeling to stay for a moment. Not to diminish you, but to set the ego down. Jung saw this moment as healing, when humans no longer stand at the center of everything and the burden gently falls away. You are not carrying the world. You are lying within it, supported. Notice your breath now. No need to change it. Just notice. Each inhale is like moisture rising from the forest canopy. Each exhale is like gentle rain falling to the ground. Slow, even, unhurried. In the rainforest, nightfall is not an ending. It is when other forms of life awaken. But everything happens softly, and your sleep is the same. Sleep is not disappearance. Sleep is a return to a deeper layer, where consciousness no longer has to stand guard, where the unconscious continues its work, arranging, healing, connecting. You do not need to follow this story to its final words. If you are already drifting towards sleep, that is perfectly fine. The rainforest does not ask you to witness everything. It only invites you to be with it for a while. Before we part, let one very light thought pass through you like distant rain not needing attention. You belong to this life. You were never outside it, and tonight you are allowed to rest in that belonging. Now, if you are still awake, allow your eyelids to close. Let your shoulders drop. Let your body grow a little heavier, as if the forest floor is holding you, wishing you a deep and gentle sleep, wishing your final thoughts to dissolve like mist, wishing your unconscious to work quietly, safely, and kindly. Thank you for being here with Stories for Sleep. Thank you for listening. Good night.